Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Danish bin Fazil and today I'm pleased to present my assignment for course DBT 362 Building Advance. The core focus of my presentation today is approximate estimating in construction. In simple terms, approximate estimating is a critical process where we determine the preliminary cost of a construction project. Before any detailed architecture or engineering drawings are finalized, in this session, I will guide you through five main areas. We will begin by understanding the primary purpose of a early stage estimate, followed by an in-depth look at the four core methods used in industry. First, the unit method, the floor area method, the cubic method, and the story enclosed method. Moving on, we will examine how one of these methods is applied to a real-world project scenario. And finally, we will conclude with a summary and recommendation. The primary purpose of approximate estimating at the inspection of a project is to establish a realistic budget framework. In the construction industry, a wrong decision made early on can cause massive financial damage later. Therefore, this primary estimate acts as a traffic light for the client. It provides immediately reality check on whether their financial resource match their aspiration. Based on this, the client can make pivotal decision whether to proceed with the project, modify the design concept to save costs, or in the worst case scenario, cancel the project entirely if it deemed financially unviable. Furthermore, this estimate serves as a critical supporting documentation for early planning and funding application from banks or investors. Without a logical data backed figure, financial institutions will not assume the risk. Lastly, it allows project management to compare the financial viability of different design alternatives to select the most optimal path forward. In method of approximate estimating, we have four methods. First, we have unit method. Second, we have cubic method. Third, we have flow area method. Last, we have story enclosure. Let us dive into the first technical approach with the unit method. This is the simplest and quickest estimation technique available. The fundamental concept is to calculate the project cost based on the number of functional units the building accommodates. The formula is straightforward and easy to remember. Estimate cost equals the total number of units multiplied by the rate per unit. The choice of the standard unit depends entirely on the building primary function. For instance, we are building a hospital. The financial unit is the number of beds. For a school, it is number of pupils. For a hotel project, the unit is the number of rooms. Let's look at the example on the slide. We are tasked with estimating the cost of a project with a capital of 100 beds. Based on historical data from past hospital projects, we established that the average cost per bed is 15,000 ringgit multiplied by 100 beds by 50,000 ringgit give us roughly primarily estimate of 5 million ringgit. While this method is especially fast, we must use it continuously as does not account for design variation, quality of finishes, or site-specific conditions. The second method is the floor area method, also known as the square meter method. This is arguably the most popular and frequently used approach by quantity surveyors during the early stage because it strikes an excellent balance between speed and accuracy. The concept relies on calculating the cost based on the total usable floor area of the building, measured inside the external walls, and multiply it by a historical cost rate per square meter. The workflow involves three steps. First, calculate the total floor area in the square meters. Second, determine the cost rate (RM) per square meter using a data from a past project with similar specification. Third, multiply the two values. As shown on our example, a building has a total floor area of 1,200 square meters. Based on the current market rate for this spec type of building, the rate is set at 2,000 ringgit per square meter. By executing the multiplication, we arrive an estimate total cost of 2,400,000 ringgit. The method is superior to the unit method because it directly factors in the actual physical scale of the building. Next, we move on the third approach, the cubic method or volume method. This method was developed to overcome the main limitation of the floor area method. While the floor area method only looks at the two-dimensional 2D plane length and width, the cubic method takes a step forward by incorporating the third dimension height. This makes it highly stable for multi-story building or structure with varying ceiling height, such as a warehouse factories. The formula requires concluding the total value length multiplied with multiplied height to get the total cubic meters. This total volume is the multiplied by the calculate cost rate per cubic meters. Looking at the data on the slide, I would like to note a minor temporary correction. The actual compressive cost figure should read 962,500 ringgit. The calculation begins with the total volume of 1,750 cubic meters. When multiplied by the volume cost rate of 550 ringgit per cubic meter, we arrive at estimate cost of 962,500 ringgit. 500 ringgit. This method provides a more accurate reflection of cost for taller structure because the cost of enclosing vertical space is accounted for. The fourth method we are exploring in the story enclosure method. Among the four primary estimation techniques, this is the most detailed, most accurate, and yields the highest level of accuracy. Why is that? Because instead of treating the entire building structure uniformly, this method is isolate and measure the area of each individual enclosing element, namely the roof, external walls, and floors separately. Each element is then assigned a specific weightage factor based on the construction complexity. Reflecting on the calculation on this slide, we sum up the individual physical components. First, the combined ground and the upper floor areas total 1,363.64 square meters. The roof area is 173.31 square meters, and the external area stands at 850 square meters. Swimming this up gives us a total gross enclosing area of 2,386.65 square meters. When we multiply accumulate area by the structure element rate of 450 ringgit per square meter, we got a high refined primary estimate 1,074,127.50 ringgit. Although this method takes longer to execute because it requires reasonably clear primary drawing, the resulting figure is far more dependable for financial risk management. We continue to advantage and limitation of approximate estimating. First method is unit. Advantage is simple, fast, and suitable for repetitive project. Limitation lacks detail based on average. Second is floor area. The advantage is easy standard and work for most buildings. Limitation doesn't consider finishes or external works. The third one is cubic. The advantage is consider volume, useful for multi-story. Limitation complex, exclude site work. Lastly is storage enclosure. The advantage fast for tall buildings, simple. Limitation ignore internal element and services. Now let's us transition to the practical application of these theories on the actual project scenario assigned to me. The project involves purpose for a single-story residential house. For this specific case, the most practical and industry standard approach to displaying the floor area method. These first step are analyze the floor plan, the extract in physical dimension according the plan data. The total floor area of the single story house is 1,437 square feet. Since standard industry formula utilizes meter units, I convert this measurement which yields 133.45 square meters. Next, based on the current market cost analysis for a single-story residential building with tender specification in the locality, the cost rate was determined to be 2,000 ringgit per square meters. Therefore, applying the floor area multiply rate formula, the mathematical calculation is 133.45 square meters multiplied by the cost 2,000 ringgit. The financial result indicate the gross estimate cost required to realize the single-story residential house project is 266 900,000 ringgit. To conclude my presentation today, the process approximate estimating is far from a guess of speculation. It is systematic branch for cost management science that is absolutely vital in the construction industry to ensure financial control is established from day one of a project conception. Each method I present, whatever it is Swift, unit method, the popular floor area method, the value sensitive cubic method, or the high price story enclosure method come with its own unique advantage and limitation. Selecting the right method depends on entire on the depth of the project data. At the specific early juncture, utilizing the appropriate method as demonstrated in our single-story house application successfully shield client from financial exposure and ensure a smooth project delivery. I would like to apologize for any shortcoming during my delivery. Thank you very much for your time and attention.